I seriously hope this gets easier with time. Wow. That side seems mostly correct at this point. Much better than when I didn't have a nice prepared scalp. It really did pay to do this properly for the side affixation. That's a nice clean join. This other side, there's overhang because the stencil size is wrong. Way off. Way off. I don't know how I cut that so wrong. I need to get an entirely new stencil. I'll work on stencil, but already this project is running almost over 24 hours long. YouTube only allows 12-hour videos, so I'll have to break this up. That's going to overhang no matter what. I'll clean up the glue at the front with C22 when I'm finished all of this. I've decided I'm going to start wearing gloves, maybe, if I can remember, when applying glue, because I'm sick of the glue all sticking to my fingers. This one's nearly, well, it's not nearly empty, it's just that you can't see, the brush doesn't reach. No glue on my fingers. Yeah, I like gloves. As I've been waiting for this hairpiece to dry, I've been watching Donald Trump at the Republican ceremony where he mentioned the death of Corey, who got shot during his assassination attempt, and the two others who got seriously injured by the bullets from the sniper. It was interesting to hear how much Trump mentioned that God had saved him to be the leader of the people, and the crowd just lapped it up. That's pretty shocking for an Australian, because none of us are really, you know, we don't pray to fairies in the sky as much as Americans do, and a lot of other countries, so it's weird. No, I was raised as a Catholic, but it freaks me out now, to be honest. There is no evidence at all that there is some bearded man floating around in the clouds above this planet, looking down, listening to our thoughts, and nominating Donald Trump to be leader of the world. No, there is no evidence for that at all. Great that he didn't get shot. Pity about Corey, the fire chief. Pity about the other two as well. And pity about the gunman who fucking just went around shooting people. And then got shot to death. As he expected he would have, surely. He must have known that that would happen. That was a definite suicide mission. It's not like he went in there and there were no witnesses. There was Secret Service and other snipers on other rooftops who would track him down, and it was a sniper who took him out in the end. Let's hope that this thing stretches out over the entire area here. The whole reason I did this bit last and didn't pre-glue that part of the hairpiece is because I didn't want to get glue all over my forehead. But I also didn't want to get glue on the front of the hairpiece. But that still happened anyway. So now I'm going to have to clean that up using C22. First I'll start by making the hair manageable. And I don't know if I'll give myself a haircut tonight, but obviously I'll have to cut it. I will avoid trying to cut it as short as I did yesterday or the day before, because that just ended up sticking up like a rooster, which is a massive problem with this V-loop system, or this V-loop method of putting hairs in. I don't really know an alternative though. Yeah, seriously, during this Trump speech, I know we went through a lot. Somebody shot a bullet at his face, barely missed, just got him in the ear, which is pretty fucking lucky for him. But during that speech, and I'm still watching it, I will go back and watch the rest. I'm just waiting for him to reach out to a crown, pick it up. I now crown myself Emperor of Earth. It's crazy. And he would mention God. First there's God, then there's me. I am above all of the rest of you, but I will do my best using my benevolence to make sure that you will have good lives, if I so desire. It's fucking nuts. And the crowd's reactions are nuts. Every word he says, they're just like chanting the fight, 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 or whatever else, the fucking thing. It's nuts. It's fucking, from an Australian perspective, Americans are already over the top. Like, it's extreme. It's extremist behavior. And I think I'm speaking for 99% of Earth, except United States constitutes higher. 90% of Earth would look at that and go, that's extremist behavior from the crowd, for them to respond like that. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. I'm going to use C22 now to wipe the shit out of this. And by the way, I don't include all of America in thinking that, we should all worship Trump. I'm just saying there are enough that it's a problem. There shouldn't be anyone worshipped. No human being should be worshipped. And if you are going to worship something you can see. Not something you just read about in a caveman novel. Where the fuck is this hair coming from? Here it is, somewhere just floating around in midair. Yeah. Weirdly, I used to be very angry or, upset because I was filled with love that there were people who actually didn't worship God. Why didn't they just obey? It's written right there. It's obvious. Just read the book. Listen to the priests. They know. They'll tell you. Why can't everyone just be obedient? Now, religion makes me angry. All the brainwashing. Hopefully there's less exposed base this time. Now I'm going to get rid of that, get a new one, and soap. set C22 off, or at least dilute it enough so it will stop acting as a solvent. I'll flip the camera around so you get the highest resolution possible to see how good this hairline is. This was bleached. This is the intended front hairline, and the front lip was cut off by Lord Hair at the factory at the time of purchase. I can still see that I could have added a few more extra minutes of grey dyeing here. That indicates aging there when you've got those wrinkles starting to form around your ears there. Because your whole face is starting to sag, I guess. Yeah, see? When your face drops because you're old, it just flops down, and you get those. That's the first sign of aging, I think, apart from grey. The first wrinkles you get, I suppose. These need to go. Don't know where the hell it... Is that it? No, it's still there. I can't get it. Ears are weird. Yeah, after I saw Mother a couple of days ago, or yesterday, Mother with hot girl, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, that gave me insight into what religious people's mentality is. Just utter fucking brainwashing nonsense. And I was a victim of that for many years. Absolutely scared out of my mind to think the wrong thoughts, lest God not love me anymore, like I was betraying God, and secondly, that the devil was just waiting in the shadows for me to think those thoughts. In this life, I haven't experienced any difference except for the fact that I'm lonely without God. But I know that to pray and worship God would be an utter waste of my energy and futile. If there are any creatures that are able to think my thoughts, and I'm part of a tree and I'm just like a leaf, and my thoughts feed back into the trunk of that tree somehow, a single soul core mind, fine. But I have no evidence for it whatsoever. I'm going to flip you back around so I can see the back of my neck clearly, I think, with some lighting. I need to attack this shit. Well, I might be able to do it with this, but there's no lighting at the moment. So this is the built-in camera light. But as you can see, this is all in focus. This is all backwards for me. I've got to flip this. All right. I don't know how to make that focus. Okay. It's a lot of hair. Oh, what a mess. This razor feels like absolutely completely blunt and I can't figure it out if it is or if it's just clogged or this is all like waxy or sealed up with something. I don't know. I totally remeasured it. I don't know what's going on. This is pretty accurate at the front, so I don't know what's going on at the back. I don't know why. I don't think I stretched it. I think I measured it correctly. Clearly I didn't. Let's feel where that chunk might be. Yeah, I think the chunk is in this hairpiece as well, right there. This is the crown zone. So in order to overcome that, the best I can do is keep a longish haircut. Like I should have stuck with the 3 inches haircut, not tried to go down to 1 inch. I'll just get a hair tie. Let's start with the face and try to find a haircut that will match this. I'm going to try to find my non-loud razor. It will make a mess, but at least it won't be super loud. Okay, so this guard is 7 to 9 millimeters. They don't bother with this brand to tell you what it's like in old man speak. So if I rotate this, it'll change it by 2 millimeters. See? I'll leave it up to 9 to start so that I have somewhere to go if I fuck it up. And then I've got this 3 millimeter back up for maybe merging this side bits here. Unfortunately, I can't do it while I'm wearing glasses. Because glasses that fit over your eyes, apart from contacts, which would be reading contacts, and I couldn't see the world around me, haven't been invented yet. Swapping to the 3. 3 to 5, isn't it? Well, it says 3. I assume it's 3 to 5. I'll lower it down to 3. I just wonder how much of that is just dyed skin. Hopefully none of it. It's very hard to tell. I'm going to take this gut off completely and try to merge up. Yeah, it's the skin that's been dyed. It was trapped under there, that's why it stayed that colour. As this washes off, that'll change its appearance. I've got to do both sides. Might as well check the eyebrows as well. I'm going to start by simply pulling this outwards from the back and just chopping it off. Don't know what else to do. Pulling it up doesn't seem to work. I don't know, maybe I'll pull it up. I'll just pull it upwards. How's that? I'll pull it upwards from the back. Just begin chopping it. About there. I ran out of batteries again. So I wasn't really monitoring how long that lasted. But definitely not long enough. Pretty long back there. Way too long, probably. Do I look like a mushroom? If you keep your hair long, you get awesome amount of coverage, but your hairstyle has to suit you. But as we saw with the last hairpiece, which was a dud because the hairs were just pulling. I did this, and the hairs just kept just like full, like pulling, just like that. That should not happen. I hope this one isn't a dud too. Oh shit. That will never stay like that unless I put hair product in it. I'm going to bed. Down here is dyed skin, so it does take a couple of showers to get rid of all this, unfortunately, which is the problem with dyeing. It'll look better all through here because its skin's probably all dyed throughout there as well. So I've got to kind of wait. Maybe I've got to sort of narrow those chunks there as well a bit. But you've got to be careful, otherwise if you go too small there, it won't blend. But that amount of length should give me some styling options. I just hope this isn't a dud piece with hairs pulling out easily like the last one. And I just saw a couple of examples where this might be a dud, so let's hope it's not. Last touch, can't go without these. Can't see shit without it. And obviously I'll have to clean myself up when I stop sweating because I've got bits of hair all over me and all over the floor. So I'm going to clean all this up and then go to bed. Alright, let's see what I look like. Fuck. So, no hair product, a long hairstyle, and this is the best I can hope for with a hairpiece when I wake up. My head is completely desensitized to touch. I mean, I can't feel that I'm wearing a hairpiece really, but I can feel that I can't feel my head. Also, without that, shit, without that beard and mustache and everything. My face looks so plain. How's the back? Is it all sticking up? I think of people with straight hair and it just fluffs, yeah, you know, spraying, and then it just lands gently back into an exact position, like Tom Cruise's hair, right? And people with straight hair, it's just like flunk, just exactly. It didn't happen for me with this one. Is it something I could have put in my hair? It is interesting to think that when I put that dye in my hair, this became all soft. I've shaved it off now. I have to have a shower and make sure that this purple doesn't exist on the sides of my face. But in terms of controllability, it looks like somebody's shot me in the face, and instead of blood, there's hair coming out the back. And yeah, you can't say it's askew too much, or whatever else. It's just this is how hairpieces behave, I guess. God, it's even worse. These glasses only work at this distance. Alright, not this distance. And they amplify light. My God, definitely no sunlight. Come on, put some. And you can go too. Thank you. Oh God. Alright. I'm gonna go recover a bit. Maybe shower off until these things go away. But yeah. I don't know about this. I have a look. Look. I might as well be wearing a wig. Seriously, which camera are you on? This one? 2. Camera 2. I might as well be wearing a fucking wig. The hair's coming out today. Yeah, straight away. Boom. Another one. You can see I'm not. I'm just seeing. I feel like there was some very whispery hairs. Then nothing. One, just relaxedly, just touching. They ripped out without me doing anything at all. Just if you run your fingers through your hair. Yeah, another one. What color is that? Zero, 1. Don't forget, I've just slept on a pillow. I haven't had a shower since my haircut, so I'm just really hoping this isn't a hairpiece. This hairpiece is not a dud where the hairs just fall out way too easily. Massive amounts of tinnitus. Probably need to stretch a bit. Need to sit down in a chair. Looks like the hairline is too high. I look pale. I look sick. And I've got to go visit my auntie in hospital. And I've just got a call from an old friend who's stuck in Melbourne, so I'll look after him. And my house is just filled with hair stuff right now. Look, it's just the start of it. Not only that, I've got a fucking hide stumpy. I just had a shower, and hopefully I started clearing off some of the dye from my sideburns here. A bit worried about this microphone and this tighter t-shirt. It's interesting when you're trying to figure out how to dry your hair for the first time with one of these full-size hair pieces. Like, usually I would just hold all of that. I would hold the front, which is my front partial, and just, dry all of this indiscriminately. But now I've got to make sure that all of it remains gently protected when I'm, soaking wet. Obviously my hair's mostly just damp now. It's been dried from all the wetness. It is unfortunate that such straight hair, those of you with dead straight hair don't perceive wavy hair to be straight, but people with curly hair perceive wavy hair to be straight, okay? This is straight hair, as far as I'm concerned, which is amazing. It means I can have a lot more control. Curly hair have no control at all. You understand that? These glasses have a perpetual fog with some kind of glare in them, so I have to clean them. It's better. They can be cleaned after all. All right. So what is this mysterious shade up here? Is that a glued forehead? Or is that exposed base? Is that base or the forehead that these hairs are stuck to? It feels sticky all the way along there. I am concerned that this is going to be a whole bunch of exposed base and this hairpiece is going to have to be cut. But we know there's flappage back here. So I'm going to use some more of this stuff. Interestingly, this stuff, and I think there's Walker Tape Company who makes this. Yeah, Walker Tape Com, see? They always make bad lids and bad pumps and everything else. Like all their packaging's awful. Like that was just spraying out the side. It's always bad. And it leaks. Those C22 things, they just, if they're sideways in like a storage box, they will leak all over the place. And the Walker Tape Ultra Hold glue, the brush, see how it's only just vaguely touching the base? When you unscrew it, it goes higher and then the brush ends about there. And so you can't get any of that glue out. Okay, so I think I may need to use some force to clear this up. Just all downward motion. Be careful not to give myself abrasions. I'll start by just flipping this, which didn't have any C22 on this side. Then I'll get another one. Oh, empty. I love that baby wipe dispenser so much that I use them all up. It feels like that is, well, I can't tell when it's wet. You can't get a proper gauge on anything when it's wet. Hair, mess, anything. You've got to make sure it's dry so you can observe things properly under good lighting conditions. And when you're testing devices that you'll be using in the dark, like a phone or any other kind of device, the lighting conditions need to be appropriate for your actual lifestyle. Same with reading glasses and everything else. In stores, they give you the ultimate lighting, so everything's like really good and works well, but you've got to test it out in proper lighting conditions, which they will not supply for you, which means you've got to buy it to test it, and then they might not give you a refund. Need to figure out a way to make this look good, because at the moment it looks terrible. I can't, I need to be closer to the mirror. Oh yeah, that's all exposed base where hairs are ripped out, isn't it? All along the front there. All right, that does it. I can't trust that Lord Harris always cut the front lip off nicely, which means that the shape of my hairpiece cannot be dependent on that front. It's such a shame. But the further back with the hairline I go, cutting into a hair system to make the hairpiece, the further forward the crown comes on my head. You get it? I really need to maximize this distance, given that my natural crown is 8 inches from my hairline and the one from Lord Hair default is 7 inches. I'm going to try some leave-in conditioner today, and hopefully it'll just give some weight to this hair, because it's so, you know, beautiful by default compared to my natural hair, that it should, if it was weighted enough, rest nicely. This is called Argan Oil by Ask. There's not much left of it. Yeah, empty. Kind of oily too, so I guess this company doesn't make spray bottles where the intake straw can reach the base either. I mean, it might have been able to if I'd have angled it, but it still hasn't been invented yet, or if it has, it's reserved for NASA. My glasses are so restrictive. Make sure you don't separate your bio hair from your wig, your hairpiece, when you're styling your hair. You want it to look uniform, okay? So don't think of them as two different things. This is just for beginners. No person who's had one for a long time would do that, but if you're a beginner, you might just be brushing your hairpiece and ignoring your natural hair. And okay. I'm just going to go away and let it sort of dry, and hopefully it'll partially remember its position. And if it doesn't stay where I want it to, I'll put some styling product in rather than just leave-in conditioner, which doesn't really have any holding properties. It just potentially makes the hair absorb the liquid and crystallizes in a way that it can stay there all day, and that hair, each hair is heavier, so it will stay down more, I think. That's not a styling product as such. A styling product sort of glues the hairs together so that you can move them into a position and they kind of mostly stay. That's how I feel the difference is here. It's just not working. It's a bad haircut. Feels very manageable, but I just haven't been able to style it nicely. Now I feel like maybe there's some extra long hairs here, like that I cut it further than that. That's pulling out. Okay, so there are hairs pulling out. All right, sorry, I didn't have time to set up my light and microphone and everything, so bad luck. I'm gonna use some styling product on this now. This is an evidently bad haircut, and I'm seeing hairs really protruding out and falling out by themselves. So I don't know what's going on with these hair pieces. It's a bad batch. I'm probably assuming the other 4 hair pieces are in the same situation. Or maybe this is just a problem when you have long hair. I mean, it's happened before a few times over the years, but when I get the decent setup parts I need for this rig, the one that you're attached to, I'll go back to having this component here suction cupped back on the mirror, because just dead on, facing me, but further back. That allows me to look in the mirror up close, and so I can, this is how I would naturally stand close to the mirror so I can see my reflection. And you would see me too if you were stuck down in the usual way, but now that you're on this thing, I can't really bring you back to where I want you to be. So when you were stuck here, it was fine. I can see my reflection up close because I'm leaning part, my chest is beyond the sink here when I look in, because I want to see up close. You look fat. Oh, thank God that's a necklace. I'm gonna use this stuff again. You gotta be careful not to flick the mirror with this stuff, otherwise you get splotches of mess on the mirror. Same with toothpaste when you brush your teeth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a fair bit of exposed face up here. It's not really that visible to me, but I know people with good eyesight would probably see it. And it'll be a massive relief when I get to clean up all the stuff around the apartment, because in all these experiments I've been doing, I mean, the bathroom itself is extremely messy at the moment. I'll clean up bit by bit, and then it'll all go away. Like I said, there's a list of problems that weigh you down, and when you start ticking them off, you feel better. Even though you've got like 9 things left after you got rid of the first of the 10, you get a little bit of glory. You get to take a breath, and it gives you a good feeling of euphoria for a little bit as well. So it inspires you to get on with the other 9. There will be more coming, but once you get down through that 9, I mean, it's like in Castaway. I've used the Castaway metaphor many times. Tom Hanks was stuck on that island and the waves just kept pushing him back, pushing him back. It takes that extra push of strength to bring up the sail and just, with a bit of luck as well, push through those incoming waves of just keeping you stuck there. Yeah, you have to push through. If you are inundated, despite your weakness, and that's the unfairest thing about life, during your time of major weakness, that's when you need to fucking push with the maximum amount of strength so you can get back up onto the plateau where everyone else in the world is just like, life is easy. Where have you been? And you're like, half your skull blown out, whatever. They don't even know what you've been through, and most of them don't even give a shit. Anyway, you've got to push up through that. This is what my hair has defaulted to. Now, my mum and my auntie told me I look nice, but my cousins didn't say a word. I can see why. I look utterly ridiculous. Fuck, how embarrassing. That needs to be down to about there. And that hairstyle is just fucking stupid. Yeah. Well, I got about that much distance at the back, remember? But it's glued down pretty hard now. I don't want to lift it up and move it. Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world when your hairline has gone up so far. But seriously, these side bits, it seems like it's long enough to style, but you can't pull it back enough to tuck it behind the ears or anything. It just looks terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about this. It's not just the haircut, it's the positioning of the freaking hairpiece. I don't know how to brush my own hair. 47 years old, still don't know how to brush my own hair. I don't think it can be brushed nicely with the way it's cut. And this bit's sort of flopping down over, I think the skull is doing that, but the hair is ending there, and so it's having to flop over an edge like a wedding dress or something. It doesn't naturally want to conform to the head. But then the front, I mean, seriously, that was a shocking hairstyle. Is that even? They're clumps. Clumps, that's, I think still some residual glue after the multiple cleanups I've done with the C22. I just wanted to yank that hair out, but I know that that's a bad pattern. Is that all exposed base along there? Flip you around. You look in the mirror, or are you looking at me? I think you're looking in the mirror. Fuck, it is exposed base, isn't it? In one day, the bases all become exposed. This whole thing has to be lifted, pulled forward, and this top front section has to be chopped off. Which means bringing the crown closer to my fucking hairline. God, this is such a nightmare, such a nightmare. And I tried to go for a brush forward look, but I didn't know how to do it. Like, it just looks fucking stupid. I don't know how to do my hair. I seriously don't know how to do it. And that's just annoying me. I'd rather it be out of my face. And I look like a freaking mushroom. That bit never got stuck down properly. And it seems to get increasingly thick around the backside, so maybe this whole hairpiece is on an angle that way. Right, man. There are two things I want to do before I publish this video. One, get this set up properly. And two, have a good haircut. Look good with it. By the gods, I will shave my fucking head if this thing doesn't work out. I was going to wait for some more parts to arrive, but I've decided that this hairstyle is so bad and I have to live with it. It's not just about making this video, I've actually got to go out into the world and live with this. So, the front is fucked because it's just all exposed base, as you can see there. And the back has a large overhang of that quantity, which is a little bit more maybe than that front that you just saw. So it's really hard to get the back to stop looking like stubble at some point and start looking like neatness. I don't know, should I shave that bit off? Should I shave that bit off? See, it all rises up and changes as you go up anyway, so you never know when to stop. Leave the back there like that. And this part, either I make a larger hairpiece, which would be beneficial to me because this is basically circular. Oh man, look at that. That's so bad. That should never be allowed to happen. It should never be allowed to happen. I don't think it could happen when the hairpiece was large. It's only able to seemingly happen. Obviously, it's also a bad haircut, but yeah, maybe if it was shorter there, but it still wants to stick out when it's not, when it hasn't got weight to it. I'm strongly considering my next hairpiece being larger, like increase the size of the shave zone larger. Because when I wore a full hairpiece that was just not even cut out, not even stenciled, I just wore it over the top of everything, that was able to be sort of brushed into a position that conformed to the head because it came all the way around there, all the way around there. So there was no chance of a drop off, of like a ledge when you go all the way down, all the way down. Once you start dropping off there, and also you got that problem of the crown being in the wrong spot. That can be overcome with a larger headpiece too. And also, when I'm positioning this thing, because it's so circular, 7.5 by 8, I mean, it's impossible to tell where the front of the hairpiece is, and it has to be in this direction because the hair is stitched in that direction. You can't, like if I put it backwards, the crown would be there. So let's just think of all of this as temporary. I've got these ones that are pre-front bleached, at least. Now every single attempt is an entire hairpiece that I have to buy, 130 bucks each. Alright, so what am I going to do, lift the whole hairpiece off? Don't think so. I will just caterpillar the whole thing forward. I'm going to caterpillar it. Okay, so that bit now, I don't know exactly where the back center is. This is too wide as well. I'm waiting for some new markers to replace these crappy ones that don't make a single freaking mark on anything. They don't work. Well, brand new. So I've got some stronger ones. Hopefully they'll solve that. There's some residual glue there, so that's good. I'll try and reawaken it. This doesn't fully reawaken the glue, but it gives you some kind of opportunity, some sort of chance. Now I'll try and see if that, hopefully that's centered. Hopefully. I don't think it's going to stick though. And coming back around here, I'll try to hold that in position. And then from here, well, I don't want to rip those hairs out. I feel like it might be setting, hopefully. I'll go from the side. Needs to stay at the back. Otherwise I'll never find the back again. So deactivated. All the glue stuck to the hairpiece instead of the head there. Might as well give that a wipe while I'm here. So I'm trying to, when I say caterpillar forward, I mean move the back into position first, then move the front, so that, because I have got zero visibility of the back, I'll move this forward all the way. It doesn't matter where the hairline lands, I'll cut off the excess from the front rather than trying to cut off the excess from the back. I could take off the whole thing and try to cut it when it's not on my head at all, but positioning it is too hard, so I'm just trying this method. From all of these experiments, I hope to derive a useful hair template, hairpiece template. That seems mostly in alignment there. Let's just get that side good, and we'll deal with overhang on that side separately. I don't know how far over I'm moving the crown, but when I trace this eventually, hopefully it will still equal the same pattern. Some pretty serious curling going on here. I assume that's because hairs have been stuck down inside. Oh no, it's just the base is stuck to itself, is that right? I could use gloves, but I'm not gonna. Let that overhang how much it wants to. Probably going to result in a hairline that's on the centered, contoured to be centered there on the side of my face, which is weird. We'll see in a second. There's got to be a better way to line all this up. You gotta be careful with stretching this stuff because it can recoil. I mean, it will recoil if there's too much stretch going on. So I pulled the whole thing forward. So there's no overhang back here. And we'll deal with adhesion secondarily. And cut off the front bit. Okay, so for the sake of visibility now, I'm kind of glad I did not use water just then, but I'll need water now. It already feels more logical. I know the front hairline's going to be on my forehead, but I'm going to cut that back. I'm also interested to see if there's that ledge thing happening at the back of my skull. I feel like I may have aligned both the sides properly because of the flex of the whole thing. Maybe this side had a lot of overhang because this was stuck down hard and there was some stretch going in, and when I lifted the whole thing, I sort of more relaxed and made it land exact instead of being overhanging down. Now it sort of landed hopefully exactly there and exactly there. And exactly all around the perimeter, hopefully. Hopefully there's no gap. I need to check out this hairline. Okay, my natural hairline should end there. So I'm going to cut off the front, and I want it to land there. And interestingly, that kind of seems right there. Correct, I mean, it is left, so it's correct, I think. So I might just let that have exposed base there, because I don't want that any higher on that side. Maybe I could recoil this, like just cut off the exposed base and that's all. Curling going on because it's only exposed base, so it's easy to curl. But I've got to uncurl it, otherwise I won't be able to cut it. And hopefully the problem with this here, constantly shedding, will go away. It's very hard to uncurl by the looks of things. And if I cut off too much, then I'll be pushing the hairline further up, but I don't think it's sacrificing too much to not worry about uncurling it, because it'd be pretty hard to uncurl. And the problem is when you do this, you do lose some, and these scissors suck. So I'll use the heavy duty scissors, the brand new titanium ones. Oh, they're so good. Get scissors that work. Oh, too low, too low, too low. Oopsie. Cut off a fucking huge chunk. I'm going to ignore that mess and keep going. Try not to chop all these hairs at the front. It's better to get the hairpiece size correct to begin with. Having to fix it in post. Prevention is better than And the thing is, when you do this, you're creating exposed base every time as well. So you've got to sort of cut it twice each time, which means I've got to push it even further higher. I'm going to have to shed this as well, which could pull out even more hairs. It's a delicate operation. But it's good to see these scissors are so sharp and work so well. Might be too high. I might have to start again. Let's see. I will shed what I got here. You can't stretch too much. I'm confident that it's landed low, which is gonna give me even another chance, hopefully. Or maybe I can just leave it how it is, maybe. This is why I always bleach an inch in, because if I ever need to cut back, there's still bleach moments that... Wow, that looks like shit. Yeah, that's so visible. So visible. Wow, okay, none of that looks bleached at all. Sacrifice that. Yeah, totally get good scissors. It's important to have sharpness, that's for sure. Wow, that's so bad. Until they start making poly units with bleached roots, we're fucked. So this is the second cut that's required to remove the excess. Now I feel like it's starting to itch up too high again. And heaps of shedding, heaps and heaps. I'm being light-handed with it because I'm worried that this base has no real hold on the hairs. Already I'm starting to feel better that it's lower, but you can see all that. Often the remedy for this kind of disgustingness at the front hairline is to chop it out. You don't want a fucking line there, that's for sure. It's definitely exposed base. I've got to get it out, I'm sorry, me. I have to get it. Now it's back to being too high again. I fucked it. And more shedding, more hair loss, more weird shaped fucking front hairline. I fucked it. I'm gonna now attempt to stretch it down to there, where it will look right. Please don't curl. That's too stretched, and I can see that bit just curled. If it curls, you gotta cut it out because it's too hard to uncurl. It's really stretchy, like it's pulling my eyebrows up. It was almost good for a second. I should just let it be a little bit bad. There's a fold here. So for glossary, I've had to invent words, right? Curling is where the edge comes over, and then you've got to either try to uncurl it, but often if there's no hair on it, you can't pull it because there's no hair. It's just going to have to be all either uncurled and then chopped, or just chop deeper and take the curl with it. Now with a fold, that's when you put on a hairpiece and it's folded up inside, and you've got to rip it up and then pull it and then flatten it. All right. That's all bad all along there. That's all exposed base too. Has to be chopped out because it's fucking disgusting. More cutting, more shedding. I just want to get the edge, but it's impossible because there's always casualties. There are always casualties, I should say. Doesn't look better. Still looks bad. It's a curled edge. Take all of that with it. Now I think maybe it's possible to simply squish it down. Maybe give my head a massage until it goes away. I don't know. I think the only cure is to bleach that again. But it's all looking like exposed base, isn't it? All the way. Bits of glue stuck in the front hairline. It's all pretty fucking shit. Let's examine this hairline. It's not quite right. How'd the sides go? Did they land properly? That's definitely overhang. What about if we go around the back? Just do a lap in my head quickly. Just give me a look. If that had proper adhesion, I'd be fairly satisfied with it. And then on this side, let's see if I can if I make that land accurately. Have I put a fold there? Likely I have. Can't feel it right now. I don't know where it should end. Should it end over the top of that stuff? Probably. Yeah, probably. This front hairline is just awful. If you're not seeing it properly, it's because your eyes are blind. I'm going to swing around to use the real camera. Look at that. You telling me somebody wouldn't notice that that's a shitty fucking hairpiece that somebody's wearing? You think they just go, oh, that's a normal hairline, that's a normal person? Of course they fucking wouldn't. It looks horrendous. It's just awful, isn't it? It's almost like an open and shut case for wearing lace instead of poly, isn't it? Despite how difficult lace is to deal with. That is absolute nonsense. So I'll wear a brushed forward look. I don't know if this is the correct hair length. It feels like it kind of should be, but I don't know how to do my hair. It just looks awful all the time. But I do feel better when the front hairline is at least in the right spot. When your hair is like, whatever the length this is, four inches. It's difficult to fluff forward. You've got to really choose a hairstyle. Certainly can't go with a brush back look now. Let's try this I don't think there's any left. No, it's not. When I get my stencil size perfect and I cut out a perfect hairpiece, I will go exactly to the edge. At the moment, the back is fine, but like there's no edging problem that I can see. Why am I walking around? You walk around. I think that looks like it's blending well. What's the hair color like? It seems okay in this lighting, the hair color, and with when it's wet. Have you heard of autofocus? You're able to do that? Not when this is so badly lit. I think that's the brightest this thing goes. I might go back to a big light. This is not powerful enough to even make the camera work. Alexa, turn off the main area. Alexa, turn off the bathroom. Alexa, turn off the bathroom. Alexa, turn off the bathroom. I moved. She's not responding to the fucking bathroom switch. Please focus. Please focus. There we go, something. Try this one. Click there. There you go. There you go. Now that's all wet and that's not wet, so that's working fairly well. Under really low lighting conditions, the front hairline is not that perceptible, but in daylight, it's going to look like shit. This light isn't doing it for me, it's just not strong enough. And those absolutely unbleached roots. One of you guys, I'm sorry I don't remember your name at the moment. You've said for many years that you've been bleaching your blonde S22, I think it's called, or color 22 hairpiece. You've been dyeing it brown and successfully not splashing your poly base with it. Please come here and do it for me. I'm waiting for New Times Hair to respond. They're very, very slow communicators. They made me a hairpiece. I showed you in one of the earlier videos in this series. But the hair was bleached all the way up, like to about there. Like, why? Just flip the whole thing, bleach it, and then seal it with liquid poly. It's so easy. It is so, if I had a factory and I was making thousands of hairpieces, just take one, because this is a custom order, flip it, right? You get the little V's coming out the back, bleach them, wait 45 minutes or however long it takes until they're blonde and not visible anymore. Rinse it, dry it. Don't let the hairs all fall out, and just do it easily, neatly while it's sitting on a mannequin head. Dry it, and then put over liquid poly as usual. That's it. Nothing hard about that. It's easy. You're there. I know you're there. You're there. Okay. It's easy. It's easy at the factory for them to easily fucking do it. I would love to have a brush back look so I can have a chance at looking kind of respectable. When it dries, it's gonna fluff though. And I kind of do need at least a little bit of some kind of fringe, but I don't want to end up looking like a freaking mushroom like I did today. So I don't really think I want to cut my hair shorter than this. I just want to be able to style it in a good way that doesn't look stupid. I probably need to go to a hairdresser so they can give me a, but they don't know how it works. They don't understand the up and then just, they don't understand the upness of fucking V-loops. They don't understand. They fuck it up every single time. They say, is that good? In the mirror. When I'm like this far away from the fucking mirror. Is that good? I don't know. Bad lighting behind me. Can't even see my own reflection properly. It's not like this, where I get to examine things properly. No, they don't give you that shit in the hairdresser. It's bad lighting. They style it with cheap products and hair dryers and shit. It's not like, okay, we'll see in the morning when I wake up, and we'll go through a few days of review, and then we'll assess after we've had a proper look. And it's easy for me to style at home. If it's hard for me to style at home to get it back to this condition that you're showing me now, that 2 meter distance from the fucking mirror, then you just pay for a new hairpiece for me and to get it fitted, and you can try to cut it again. But for every week that it takes that I have to sit there bald, I want $10,000 to compensate for your fucking stupidity. That'd be fair. Because didn't you have like years of training and you've got like 20 years of experience? Why did you fuck this? Why are you that bad at your job? And that's the problem. Hairdressers doing what the fuck they're doing when it comes to hairpieces. Why is it so difficult for them? Because none of them have ever dealt with it before, I guess. But I don't want to go and pay this little money that people talk about with hair salon, like, what do you call it, hair clubs, hairpiece clubs or something. I certainly don't want to spend that sort of money. I've heard it was $900 just to get a fitting. You buy the hairpiece, they charge you like $500 for a hairpiece instead of $130 for a hairpiece. No better quality, nothing better. Just the margin is like 900%. So fuck those guys. I want them to do it for me, but I'm just not that rich. Because I have no doubt that they've got a lot of experience in knowing how to deal with hairpieces. This is the shedding that just occurred. And as you know, this is not affixed properly because I loosened all the glue and I just let it sit. And now the iPhone 11 is unable to do autofocus unless I touch the screen from behind, which is incorporated into a clamp. See where my fingers are touching the screen? Maybe I put my face there and then touch the screen there. That's better. That looks so weird without any sideburns. I also get the feeling that this coming down is weird too. It should be going up. If it should be going up, then that's why they're talking about the sides not being shaven down so low. If it goes up, then this side shave could go an inch higher. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But that seems right there. Why does it seem wrong here? Because my hairpiece is probably lopsided. That's correct on that side. I mean, that's an equidistant between there, right? That's a square basically. And over here we've got a kind of a triangle. So there's something wrong there. That should be flipped up, cut out, maybe some of that. I don't know. And what's this chunk? What's this chunk? Is it where hairs have been severed? Autofocus, you bitch. Autofocus. There. What is that? Is that a chunk of glue mixed in with some cropped off hairs? I don't know if I solved it or made it worse. I've often pondered some kind of... That's such a mess. Some kind of like ticket punch instead of scissors to get chunks like that out and potentially prevent the flat line of the plastic. But I haven't found a solution for that really. It's all exposed base too. Yeah, this monitor is not high resolution enough for me to really make out what's going on here. Wow, do I have exposure control when I slide my finger up and down the screen or something? I really don't know how to fix all this. I feel like it's hit and miss. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard. But the part I'm dealing with is not new to me. It's the same as when I had just a front partial, so I don't know why this is all like a mysterious new thing. Constant shedding going on right there at the front center. And there's another chunk there that's mysterious and ugly. Probably needs to disappear. But I can't keep these glasses up there so I can see what's going on. I think I've bitten into a completely unbleached area here. I don't know. That new altitude seems like a bit of an improvement in terms of equidistance, like equal altitude. I'm sure the airline is weird though, but I mean, now I've created exposed base there too. It's just like stubble. It's unavoidable. You've got to cut twice every time, and hopefully the second one is neater. Witness the carnage. Maybe the front is too long, maybe the sides are too long. I don't know. I like the safety idea of having an umbrella or a mop hairstyle so that it just covers everything. So there are no perimeter visibility issues with like overhang or gap, so that this can never be observed by anyone. I'm going to use hair product. I'll wet this, I'll keep the hair dry, but it'll wet while I'm doing it anyway. it's just going to dry like chaos. You can imagine that just growing out and mushrooming out. Got two options, mushroom or pineapple. It will never stay where I want it to. Unless I use hairspray. But right now it just looks weird. I just need a face transplant. Totally remove those bags for a start. Now I'm going to have to grow back those sideburns, which are going to be grey. But it's terrible. So fucking fake. Just for the example, I mean, I've got a bunch of bleached front hair pieces here. They have been brushed back at the front. These were bleached for 40 minutes. Let's see if I was able to actually make the bleach work here at the front hairline. Okay, so that's what I currently got. Even in focus, I can't even tell. And then that's supposedly my bleached front hairline there. It's not even bleached at all, is it? That's 40 minutes. It makes me... Are you seeing any blonding? Like, I can't even tell. Why is that so unbrushable? I can sort of tell that it's a bit bleached at that point right there, where it's less... I don't know. It's hard to handle. It's too hard to handle. How about this one? This camera is just no good. But from what I see, it's just all lines, isn't it? Let's flip the camera around so you get a better camera. You seeing the lines? The lines, I tried to minimize the darkness at the front, but I mean, you can see there compared to further up. That's how bad it would have been. Or maybe there's hair under there, that's why it's so bad. Yeah, okay, sorry. It's not fair. Let's see if we can see where the bleaching ends. Did any bleaching work at all? I can't tell on this. It just looks bad all the way through. Like just horrible, horrible lines. Unfortunately, I can't broadcast to myself in high res. Just these horrible fake lines everywhere. and I feel like the bleaching did nothing. It should have really bleached after 40 minutes. I'm worried. There have been times when I've said, wow, double bleaching works so much better than single bleaching. And I assume what that means is that I bleached it longer. First for 30 minutes, then for another 30 minutes or something. So next time maybe I'll bleach for over an hour. I just don't want it to be a rat yellow, then brown. That fucks it. Certainly not with 6 or whatever. It's 130 American, but what's that equal? It's about 175 Australian each times 6. What's that? 600 plus 75 times 6. Sorry, I don't know how to do 75 times 6. Like 150 times 2. 4 is 300. 450. So 450. That's 1,050 overall. 1,050. That's how much money these 6 hair pieces cost. $1,050. So far I've been through 2 of them and they're both fucked. This is probably going to just have to do, just rest. And I could go back and sort of apply more glue as I go, but what I really should be playing with is tape, which is still $100 for a roll of tape. Which is more, tape seems more expensive than adhesive. This is about usually $45, $50 in Australia, one of these, 1.4 fluid ounces. In America it's like $15 or something. But here it's fucking not that much, it's fucking $50. It's flammable, so it's hard to import. Even Hair Direct, before they shut down during COVID, stopped exporting this to Australia because I don't know what the warnings are on the side, but it probably says something about flammable or toxic or something. Anyway, I'm trying to ship some bigger tubs, bigger than I've ever been able to buy in Australia before, from AliExpress.com. Hopefully there won't be any problem with customs and I'll just receive it. It'll be a bit cheaper for me from there. As it stands, I don't think I can safely walk around with this hairline exposed like this. But overall, I think I'm progressing in terms of matching this hair size to this shave zone. The question is, should this be my shave zone? Is this going to sit right when it's cut nicely? Did I get the perimeter correct? It feels correct. It feels like it could be correct, it's just not glued down nicely. That's probably acceptable. That's probably acceptable, given that I know that it's clean shaven up further. This side. That's pretty good. I'm feeling for folds. I don't think there are any. The crown problem, how's that going? Hair going in all weird directions because of the crown positioning. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. I think any shorter than 3 inches there can cause problems. Might have to cut some of that. But the main problem now, because I feel like I've solved the perimeter issues, like I think I've got it pretty much exact back there. Well, I mean, this shape fits, or this shape fits. I don't know if I have to go down further or not. Once it's 3 inches back here, let's just confirm that. Is that 3 inches? Yeah, oh. Yeah, it's 3. Yeah, once it's 3 inches back here, that's going to be heavy enough to hang. Just so long as it doesn't fluff and do weird shit. So, if that was 3 inches from there down there, I'd have a bit of a weird hairstyle going on. At the moment, I've got what's considered to be an overhang, or an undercut. I've got an undercut right now. Short hair and then on top, long. Which is not ideal for somebody my age. That's like a 90s hairstyle. For young people. Like teenagers. If I could get the hairline right, I'd be pretty happy. I see potential. I'm not going to shave my head just yet.